Hold on. Okay. So, we're going to see that the Most High, we're originally supposed to be the servant for the Most High, not the other nations. But because of our transgression, okay, the Most High had a way of putting other nations above us so we could serve them. All right? Let's go start at Exodus 21 and 2. 2 to 4.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 21, verse 2. If thou buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. And if he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go out with him. Verse 4. If his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself.
Okay, so we see that there's so much going on within this law here. But we're going to focus on one of the laws. We're going to focus on verse 2. Read it again.
Verse 2. If thou buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing.
So the Most High said to Moses that when you have a Hebrew servant serving you, he should serve you for 6 years. But in the 7th year, he goes free with nothing. That's what the Most High decreed. Right? Now, let's jump down to Deuteronomy 15 and 12 to 15. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 15, verse 12 to 15. Let me get there.
And everybody there say, Con? It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 15, verse 12. And if thy brother, an Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee, and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. And when thou sendest him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty.
Now this one's saying that thou shalt not let him go away empty. It's a big kind of confusion, right? The Most High said, Hebrew servant go out empty, but Deuteronomy, Moses saying they shall go out with something. Right? Continue.
Verse 14. Thou shalt furnish him liberally out of thy flock, and out of thy floor, and out of thy winepress. Of that wherewith the Most High thy power hath blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him.
Okay, so now Moses is saying that this servant has to go with some substance. All right? Here's a question, because I spent almost a whole year trying to figure that out. Why did the Most High said you go out with nothing, and then all of a sudden Moses in Deuteronomy says you go out with something? Anybody could just come with any type of scenario understanding why did Moses implement that law? I know it's difficult for me. Say it again. Depending on what they get and what they work, or how they work. Okay. I thought about that. I did at one time, depending on how they work for their master. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so you're saying they don't have to pay for their freedom. Okay, but were they getting a salary while they were serving them? It doesn't pay, they was getting a salary. Okay. I thought about that too. Anybody else? Okay. Now remember, Jacob, when he went to Laban offered him money. Said, listen, you are my brethren. So any service you do for me, what salary shall I give you? But what did David do? Jacob. Jacob didn't want to work for no money. He wanted to work for the daughters. But You know, if you're serving, you have to get wages. Okay? So we're going to figure out why Moses changed that law. Now, when he changed it, was the Most High angry with him? Yeah, I didn't read anywhere where Most High was angry at Moses for changing this. So there have to be a reason. Okay? The Most High set a law in Exodus. Deuteronomy, now, remember, Deuteronomy, Moses was reiterating the laws to the children of Israel right before they got into the land. And one of the reasons why he had to reiterate the law is because why? Remember, majority of Moses' generation died in the wilderness. Only 2 from his generation made it to the land. And that was who? Joshua and Caleb from his generation. But everybody else was dead. But the children that was in the wilderness, he had to reiterate those laws. And that's what Deuteronomy mostly covered. Okay? All right. We got that understanding. Let's jump to, let's go to Matthew 18 and 9 for a second, and we're going to jump back. Matthew chapter 16, verse 18. Book of Matthew.
When everybody there, say con.
Yeah.
Matthew chapter 16, verse 18.
Uh-huh.
And I say also unto thee, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Verse 19.
Mm-hmm.
And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven.
So he told Peter, I will give to you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Go ahead.
And whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven.
So whatever decree that you make on earth, the Most High in heaven will accept. Christ said, I will accept. Whatever you bound. So I'm going to give you that power. I'm going to give you that authority, Peter. Go ahead.
And whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven.
Whatever that you change up or break, the Most High will honor it, Peter. So Christ has given him that authority. Because, Christ is not going to be around. So who's going to continue the works? Peter. Go to same chapter, let's go up a bit, verse 13, and read it all the way down.
Matthew 16, verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
When Yeshua came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, Whom do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? And they said, Some say that thou art John the Baptist, some say Elijah, and other Jeremiah, or one of the prophets. He saith unto them, But whom say ye that I am? And Simon Peter answered and said, Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God.
He said, Thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. Go ahead.
And Yeshua answered and said unto him, Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. And I say also unto thee, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
Okay, so Christ asks Peter, Who do you say that I am? Peter said, You're Christ. Now, the word Christ is a Greek translation from Christo, right? Now, if Peter is having this conversation with Christ, did he say, You are Christ? Or did he say it in Hebrew? He said it in Hebrew. So Christ in Hebrew means what? Mashiach. He said, You are the Mashiach. Now, the meaning of the Mashiach is what? The anointed one. Okay? The anointed one. The reason I'm going there is I want to show you something. So we know Christ is the anointed one. Christ is the one that's making a decision of who's going to continue his work, who's going to have the power on the earth, who's going to serve the Most High. Okay? Because Christ was a servant to the Most High as the anointed one. All right? So whatever decisions he made, the Most High accepted in the heavenly realm. So he's telling Peter, whatever decision you make, it's going to be accepted in the heavenly realm. All right? So the reason I bring the point that point out is because Moses, was he not an anointed of the Most High? Moses was anointed by the Most High, right? He's also an anointed one, Khan. So whatever he binds on earth is what? Accepted in heaven. So then when he did that decree that a servant shall leave with something, it was accepted by the Most High. But there's a reason why Moses came with that understanding. It's not like, he was being creative or anything like that, but it's an experience. I'm going to show you how. Now, Israel as a nation was the Most High servant. Let's go. Isaiah 41, 8 and 9, real quickly. Isaiah 41, 8 and 9. Right, man. Left. Okay.
Anybody there say, Khan? The book of Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 8. But though Israel art my servant.
Go ahead.
Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend.
Okay.
Verse 9. The whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the chief men thereof, and said unto thee, Thou art my servant. I have chosen thee, and not cast thee away.
So every time when Israel became a nation, and they go off, the chief of men would do what? Take them into captivity. Especially if you go in the book of Judges, Israel went to about maybe 9 to 10 different captivities. And the Most High had to deliver them from there under the chief, the kings of the other nation. So we are the Most High servant. Okay? Now, when Jacob had his 12 sons, Jacob and his 12 sons was the Most High servant. They were not the servant of any other nation. Then what his son did, the 11th tribe, they took one of the brothers and they what? Sold him into slavery. Okay, I'm just giving a background, story. So when they sold Joseph into slavery, Joseph did what? He flourished, rise to the top, flourished, and made Egypt wealth. To the point where Egypt was just flourishing because of who? Because of Joseph. So now the Most High set that up, right? So now the Most High said, all right, Egypt now has a famine. The whole country has a famine. Now these brothers are forced to leave their land and go where? Into Egypt. So they came into Egypt. You know the story. They saw their brother Joseph. Oh, Joseph. They repented. They hugged. They cried. They were happy. Then Joseph started setting his brothers in high position. 70 souls went to Egypt. High positions. Egypt was flourishing. It was good. And then what? A Pharaoh came that did not know Joseph. Pharaoh did not know Joseph. Boom. You guys are now a servant of me. That's the Most High doing. Because remember, when you break the law of the Most High, when you are pulled in by your own lust, you're going to enjoy it. You're going to think everything is good. But then the Most High said, if you sell someone to slavery, that ye shall go into slavery. So the children had to fall into servitude under Pharaoh. Let's go to Exodus 8, 20 and 4. Now, you got to understand this. We know that is the Most High doing while the children of Israel fell into servitude. One quick question. Could Israel have just walked out and leave? Soon as Pharaoh said, okay, well, you guys are in slavery, put the chains on them, you're going to work. Could they just walk out and leave? Nah. There's only one way for them to leave servitude. Let's go. Exodus 8, 24.
Exodus chapter 8, verse 24.
No, verse 20 to 24. It's a lot here.
Verse 20.
Mm-hmm.
And the Most High said unto Moses, rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh.
So he tell Moses, come on, get up, go back again. Okay, because doing this part, Moses kept on going to Pharaoh, telling him, let my people go. Go ahead.
Lo, he cometh forth to the water, and he say unto him, thus saith the Most High, let my people go, that they may serve me.
That they may serve me.
Else.
One second. So, when Israel was under captivity, we was no longer the servant of the Most High. The servant of the Most High was who? Pharaoh. That's what the Most High put. So no, it's not easy for us to just walk out because I put Pharaoh there. But of course, Pharaoh got all pig-headed and his heart got hardened and he didn't want children of Israel to go now. Because what? Children of Israel was making him money. Egypt had a lot of wealth. No, I'm not letting them go. So what the Most High do? Start throwing plagues. The frogs, the blood in the sea, the sickness, disease, and what? Pharaoh still refused to let them go. Go ahead, continue.
Verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
Else, if thou wilt not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon thee, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thy houses. And the houses of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies, and also the ground whereon they are.
See? So it's plenty of flies in everybody's house. People are just going nuts. Flies. Imagine you have flies in your house, in your ears when you're sleeping, going in your mouth. But Pharaoh refuses to let them go. Go ahead.
And I will sever in that day the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there, to the end that thou mayest know that I am the Most High in the midst of the earth. Verse 23, and I will put a division between my people and thy people. Tomorrow shall this sign be. And the Most High did so. And there came a grievous swarm of flies into the house of Pharaoh, and into his servant's house, and into all the land of Egypt. The land was corrupted by reason of the swarm of flies.
Oh, I saw Egypt was getting corrupted with plagues. And we see this happening today. Just because a lot of the hardcore plagues ain't hit us here in New York, but this whole Babylon is getting plagued. Florida have a whole bunch of frogs popping up. A lot. The Midwest was hit with a terrible winter storm. Now all the water, all the snow that was in the Midwest are melting, and now it's flooding the whole farms, destroying cattle. Plagues are happening right now. Because what it is that it's almost time for us to go. So our captors have to give the decree for us to go. So Most High is going to force them Jump to Exodus 13, 15, 17. Yeah,
Exodus chapter 13, verse 15. And it came to pass, when Pharaoh would hardly let us go, that the Most High slew all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beasts. Therefore I sacrifice to the Most High all that openeth the matrix, being males, but all the firstborn of my children I redeem.
So, there you go. What'd you read up to?
Verse 16.
16. All right, continue.
And it shall be for a token upon thy hand, and for frontlets between thy eyes. For by strength of hand the Most High brought us forth out of Egypt.
Okay, so now, the only reason why we were able to leave now is because what? Pharaoh said to what? Go. Until he said to go, you could not go. Because what? He was a servant of the Most High. Now that we left, now we're what? A servant to the Most High. There was no way that we could have just leave on our own. I'm going to show you. Let's go into the book of Jasher. If those don't have it, pay some attention. The book of Jasher, chapter 75. And you know, there's a particular reason, I'm going to get to it, why the Most High did not want anybody to leave their captivity early.
Start at verse 1.
Yeah, you're going to start at verse 1.
This is the book of Jasher, chapter 75, verse 1. At that time, in the 180th year of the Israelites going down into Egypt, they went forth from Egypt valiant men, 30,000 on foot.
So now it's been 108 years they're in Egypt, in captivity. Go ahead.
30,000 on foot from the children of Israel, who were all of the tribe of Joseph, and of the children of Ephraim, the son of Joseph. Verse 2, for they said the period was completed, which the Most High hath appointed to the children of Israel in the times of old, which had been spoken to Abraham.
Okay, so it was a bit wrong. They thought that period was over. 180 years? Go ahead.
And these men girded themselves, and they put each man his sword at his side, and every man his armor upon him. And they trusted to their strength. All
right, so now these guys just decided, yo, you know what? We're going to put some swords on our hips. We're going to put some armor on. We out of here. Our captivity is up. Go ahead.
They put each man his sword at his side, and every man his armor upon him. And they trusted to their strength. And they went out together from Egypt with a mighty hand.
Okay.
But they brought no provision for the road, only silver and gold. Not even bread for that day did they bring in their hands. For they thought of getting their provisions for pay from the Philistines. And if not, they would take it by force.
So these guys was ready to do some gangster moves. Okay? They didn't bring no bread, no food, but they got guns. I mean, they got swords. They got gold. They got money in their pockets. They was like, forget this. I'm going to put a Tech 9 in my hip, Desert Eagle 445, Glock 9. I'm going to have a mitt in my hand, jewelry around their neck. I'm out of here. We're going to blaze ourselves out of here. That was their intention. So they think that the gold and the silver they have, they can barter with the other nations. We don't need food. That's all they carried out with them. So you already know what their intentions was. You didn't see them walking out with kettles or pots, pans. They decided to go with swords. Go ahead, continue.
For they thought of getting their provisions for pay from the Philistines, and if not, they would take it by force.
Take it by force. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And these men were very mighty and valiant men. One man who could pursue 1,002 could root out 10,000. So they trusted to their strength.
Okay, so they said these men were valiant men. So that means they learned some form of military strategy while they were in captivity. They learned something. Okay? So they figure, oh, we learned enough. I know how to use my sword. I know how to make money. Yo, we out of here. Let's go. Okay? Go ahead.
So they trusted their strength and went together as they were. Verse 6. And they directed their course toward the land of Goth. And they went down and found the shepherds of Goth feeding the cattle of the children of Goth. And they said to the shepherds, give us some of the sheep for pay, that we may eat, for we are hungry, for we have eaten no bread this day. And the shepherds said, are they our sheep or cattle, that we should give them to you even for pay? So the children of Ephraim approached to take them by force.
See that? So they wouldn't give it to them. So now they're going to have a battle. They're going to go to war. That's a gangster move, man. You go into other people's territory and then you want to force them to give you their provision? You wasn't ready to leave. Go ahead.
And verse 9. And the shepherds of Goth shouted over them that their cry was heard at a distance. So all the children of Goth went out to them. And when the children of Goth saw the evil doings of the children of Ephraim, they returned and assembled the men of Goth. And they put on each man his armor and came forth to the children of Ephraim for battle. Verse 11. And they engaged with them in the valley of Goth. And the battle was severe. And they smote from each other a great many on that day. And on the second day, the children of God sent to all the cities of the Philistines, that they should come to their help, saying, come up unto us and help us, that we may smite the children of Ephraim, who have come forth from Egypt to take our cattle.
So the children of Ephraim, they was giving them a good work, a good fight. So Ephraim must have been high-minded and said, yeah, we got them. We're about to have the cattle. We're about to have this provision. Let's go. Let's get them. But Gath went and called the allies. Go ahead.
Verse 13 again. Come up unto us and help us, that we may smite the children of Ephraim,